I'm live! Welcome, Warriors! Oh my goodness. So, what'd you guys think of Creature of Destruction? What a sad. Where's my microphone? All right, can you hear me? All right. What a sad, sad movie. And it was funny when the dot. So, when we get these movies, right, from John, right, you usually get them like a few months ahead of time, right? And I'll be showing you what we got going on from now until like October. Um, we got it right. I remember that movie, and then um, I read the details and all that, right? And I'm like, I saw this on Commander USA. Now, if you guys are wondering who Commander USA is, notice I'm talking everything about the movie because the movie was so bad. But Commander USA was uh, more. It was more sci-fi than horror. Hosted show or the USA Network, and it ran in like the 80s. I think it's to the early 90s. And the guy was friggin' hysterical. He was supposed to be a superhero, right? And he comes walking out, and then on his hand, right, like Coolio, whatever his name was, right, like that, he would talk, right, and it was Lefty, right. So he'd always ask Lefty for advice, and like Lefty was his sidekick, and it was hysterical. And he would have bad movies, and it was a sin because the last season that he was on, it was pretty much like USA Network was like, all right, you're getting a good bad amount of revenue, but we're cutting your budget. And they started showing a whole lot of like Japanese horror movies. There was one, it was Earthquake, and it was a Japanese ripoff of the movie Earthquake, and it was a sin because it went downhill mainly because money grubbing bastards wanted to try to milk it and not give him the money he needed. And then I don't know what he did after that. It was kind of funny. He probably went back. I think he was the weather guy at at some TV station. I'm trying to remember his history, but he was hysterical, and it's funny because about 2 or 3 years ago, I follow Marlene and Midnight, who hosts a Midnight Mausoleum from Des Moines, Iowa. All right, they've been the Quad Cities area, right? And she's huge up and down the Midwest. And she's on the Vortex, she's on the Monster Channel and all that. And the guy was interviewing her and said, "So did you take your character after Elvira?" And she's like, "No, really, I really never really watched Elvira a whole lot because Elvira. I mean, if you remember back in the day, Elvira was in L.A. and she was syndicated across the country, but it was kind of like inconsistent because as she got more popular, right? And this is what I heard. I'm not 1,000% sure, but she would just, and she deservedly so, was charging more, for her show to be syndicated, and a lot of stations didn't carry it. But Commander USA was on the USA Network. If you had cable, you have USA Network. That was one of the back in the day. It was like a free channel for the cable companies. Now I think they're part of Comcast and they charge. But anyway, they asked her and she goes, "No, I don't take my character from Elvira. My inspiration was Commander USA." And I thought that was kind of neat because he was somebody that I loved. It was so, and back in the day, right? Because it was Saturday afternoon, right? And I think they rebroadcasted it like at 3 in the morning after Rhonda Shear's up all night, and but I would videotape it, and then it would be one of those shows. They come back home after a night of having a couple pops, right? And I lived in an apartment with a roommate guy, guy I've been best friends with since I was like 15, and our house, we were like two of the single guys in a crowd of mostly everybody was married. Everybody would end up back at our house, and we'd be watching like Mystery Science Theater and Commander USA at like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But anyways, but Creature Destruction. I mean, it was just it, there was no redeeming quality in that movie whatsoever, right? And the monster looked horrible. And there's a few movies coming up that, to me, looks exactly like the same monster. Like this monster looks like the Zontar monster, right? Except the Zontar monster was more like had they the skin was more like a greasy trash bag. And that's the way one of the guys who was a critic described the monster at the time. But yeah, the movie, all right, it sucked. Okay, like the Mystery Science Theater when Joel looked right into the camera and goes, "This sucks." Right? That's how this movie was. But again, we did some good bits. I hope you enjoyed some of the interviews I did. I interviewed about a month and a half ago, and I'm just getting around doing the edits because it's been crazy with me. There was a thing called Delco Horror Haven. If you guys know, I go to all their events, or 90% of their events. Great bunch of people. It's run by these 4 ladies, and they had what was called a Ghoul-astic book fair. And it was a book fair, and it was, there was people there with other things besides books, right? But it was mainly people or horror authors, and it gives an outlet for them to sell their stuff, And I went and I got about 30 interviews out of it, right? And these people, I mean, first of all, one, they're really trying to sell their story, right? So to me, right, I think it's cool. They interview them, I put it out there, right? I can say one thing that I apologize for. Usually I try to get the business cards and I put them at the end of the videos if people knew, or I put them in the comments. I can't find the envelope I had all the cards in, and I'm going to be tearing through my backpack tomorrow night to try to find it so I could get it out there to you guys, and I apologize for that. But interviewed a ton of people, and everybody so nice, right? I mean, customer service with these people, they really, and they're out there to talk to people. So when I asked if I interview them, right, I only had one person that didn't want to be interviewed, and it was mainly she's camera shy. I think she's in the witness protection program, really, but what do you know? Anyway, no, I'm kidding, right? But that was the table. I said it was just booksellers. I took a picture of all the books because I wanted to help promote everybody. I mean, that, the way I look at it, right? Again, Levante, we all lift each other up, right? And I'm not the most popular person in the world out there yet. You know what I mean? I'm gonna, someday I'll have as many followers as Dr. Dredd. But right now I'm just climbing the ladder, right? And if I do well, right, you know what I mean, I'm going to make sure all these people I did interviews with, I'm going to make sure I help promote them. And I know they're going to do the same. Just like when I interviewed like Jim Canatelli and Elizabeth Chamberlain, right? They're people that are on the way up. I want to help them. They want to help me, right? It's all about synergy, right? Everybody helping each other. And that's what the world's supposed to be about. All right, enough lecturing. So, Creature Destruction sucked. And wait till you see who we got next week. Axe. Not ACTS, AXE, right? Obviously, it's about an axe murderer, right? Another finely tuned movie that went right to cable and back to VHSs, right? And it's a bad movie. Independent movie, right? There are some good qualities to it, but it was just put together kind of bad, and I feel bad. But I'm looking forward to it because the doc and I have some really great bits. The doc just sent our part of the show over to John this week, and basically, he sends it right for me to review it, and I'm just like, look at it, and it's always perfect. You know what I mean? Dr. Ed, Don Murray, he does great editing. And you guys see my editing, and look at me, right? I'm wearing my crown, and the cemetery's blending into it. I got to work on this screen thing, But after Axe, right, what do we got coming up? All right, so let me open up my Microsoft Pictures. All right, you're going. You had all night to get prepared for this. Yeah, I did. All right, I'm a loser. Okay, so we saw the Thunder. I'll talk about that at the end. But I went to see the Thunderbolts last night, right at Exton Theater, and I'll talk about that at the end. Where are all these pictures? It's driving me nuts. Holy Christmas. Well, it's going to the folder. All right, technical difficulties. Right? All right. Spoiler film. Where the heck did they go? Oh my goodness. I am like the most disorganized person on the planet. So I'm sitting here trying to get you guys. Here we go. All right. So, first of all, the boss wanted me to get this out there to you, okay? Starting on Monday, May 5th, this coming Monday, our new lineup's coming up, okay? And part of the new lineup is he's going to have different different shows. And let me see if I could slide that in here. Let me open it up in here. Let's go to image. Right? Browse. There we go. All right. So, I got to move it over here. There we go. So, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and before that, I forget what shows are on. I think there's cartoons. He's going to have Sir Lancelot. If you guys remember from King Arthur, Sir Lancelot was like his sidekick, his sergeant at arms, right? The occasional wife, I have no idea what that's about. She's occasionally a wife. I don't know. Was she a hooker? I don't know. Then Climax, the Loretta Young show, Red Skeleton show. Now, that's a show that my mother loved, right? And he is hysterical. And there's one bit that he did where he talked about America and the flag. And if I find that, I post that every year on Flag Day and the 4th of July. But it's really good. Then NYPD, right? Not NYPD Blue. Brenner, Tightrope, our Miss Brooks. And then the day winds up at the end with I Marry Joan. Then every night after that, every show after that is going to be our like the movies that he has on, right? The different movie showcases. Okay. Then let's see. It's at the end of May. Go with May 1, right? So at the end of May, right? What do we have? Right? I told you we have Axe coming up. We had Creature Destruction, right? And we should have just destroyed it. So let's go into May, June. Now, all right. Ooh, it fits right around my head. So we have The Chilling on the 16th, right? Now, that John, the boss, has picked up it's a football league for all first responders, right? And they covered it at the FDNY, the New York Fire Department, and the Blazers, I think the name of the team. That's going to be on at 8 o'clock. So guys, watch that. It's really good football, and it's all first responders. Okay, and then from there, right, we'll be on after the game. So probably like 10ish, something like that. Okay. Then on the 23rd, my 27th wedding anniversary. God bless you, Helga, excuse me. The Curse of Bigfoot, and you're gonna love the Bigfoot that's on the show. You'll love it, right? And it's another bad movie. It doesn't know what it's trying to do, right? And then after that, I'm Haunted 3. I have to actually get on my high horse and get that episode done. But we'll have the second part of the interview with Miss Elizabeth Chamberlain, and we'll show that movie. And the movie, basically, it's different than 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2, I thought pretty much 2 is a retelling of 1 with a different character, but a wild ass ending, right? Well, 3 I've seen, and 3 is like it's a reporter trying to talk about the murders and stuff, and it's actually pretty good. Schizoid starts out June on 6/6. I haven't seen it yet. I have no idea what it's about, right? On 6/13, we're going to have The Legend of Crickfoot. Now, Crickfoot is a movie, right, that was made in a place called Hatboro, Langhorne, Pennsylvania, which it's like 50 miles from New York. 50 miles from me, 50 miles from New York. And it's, the movie is about like a Bigfoot that lives in that area. And it's just, it's a hoot. You guys will love it. And it was done during like 2020, during COVID, Notice I'm wearing my quarantine shirt. Um, and it was made as a community put together. So he wanted to do the movie. He couldn't really get it done because of COVID. So he sent a thing out to everybody, right, that lived in the area. Say, hey, can you do like a 5-10 minute clip about, and he gave him the premise. And these people met all their clips in. It's hysterical. And there's a kid in the movie, and I interviewed him, right, and we'll have that clip on, right. But the big part is that is our first year anniversary. So what we're going to do is on 5/17, after the chilling, we're actually doing an appearance. And if you guys are around, come down and see. It's free to get in. It's called Bones Bazaar, and it's a sci-fi horror convention, right? And it's in a place called the Quakertown Farmers Market, which is a really cool historical farmers market. I mean, if you go there, right, you're going to put on 10 pounds automatically, right? And we're going to be in the one room. It's a pretty big room we're going to be in. And I forget how many vendors there are, but there's going to be the Blue Meanie's going to be there from ECW and WWF, and I can't think of everybody else off the top of my head. But anyway, right, we're going to do our show from there and tape it, and that's how we're going to show that on our first anniversary. And if you guys happen to see last night, we had 3 or 4 celebrities do, hey, watch Cemetery Cinema kind of thing. Do me a favor, guys, if you send in a clip, we will show it, right? I mean, we had celebrities do it. You can be a celebrity now, too, okay? So please do me a favor. And if you want to send one in, say happy anniversary, right? Maybe do one with the Flintstones thing in the background. We'd appreciate it, okay? We'll show it, all right? Then on the 20th, we're having Reap and Trinitas. I have not seen any of them yet. I'm going to be watching them probably this week because we have the Doc and I are going to be filming our episode probably the week after, okay? And then after that, right, we got the summer. And the summer, we're only going to have 4 movies in the summer, okay, mainly because of the football schedule that he has, right? And I think the Strathaven football takes over a couple weeks. So, we're not going to be on. I think he might throw us on as a rerun on Saturday, or I don't know what John has in mind. But we have The Eye Creature, Cat and the Canary, and then these 2 movies, It's Alive, right, and Curse of the Swamp Creature, right? And I swear the monster from Creature of Destruction that was on last night is pretty much the base for these two monsters. And, I mean, they look almost exact. I mean, look at this, right? Look at him. He looks almost exactly like the Creature of Destruction. Back then they had to reuse everything, So, like, if you ever watch Star Trek and they go into a planet, right, and you I know that, right? A lot of times, especially the one with the Wild West, right? Those scenes and stuff were from sets from other movies. And it's just kind of funny how it all works out that way. But the Doc and I are probably going to split a few of these up, right? So it'll be a couple more of us doing solos, mainly because of the summer, right? And I'm going to be at camp a week, and I'm on vacation. The Doc's going to be on vacation, right? The boss is going to probably take some time. So I think this works out perfectly for us, okay? Then we have September. Always remember. Do you remember the 23rd day of September? All right. Then we'll have Hell High, right? Which, could be about Darby Win. I don't know. Right? The Godsend, Funland, and Cannibal Campout. So, I haven't seen any of these yet. Cannibal Campout, right? When I go to camp with the Viking Scouts, I'm going to try to do some bits there. But it kind of sucks because they can't watch it. Because Cannibal Campout that's a hard R movie, man. It puts the G in gore, you know what I mean? It's like gore. It's like right? So that's what we got coming up. All the way through September. In October, I don't know what we got. I had asked him for Metropolis, right, which is a science fiction movie with a great soundtrack. And then I also asked for Gamera. Both are public domain movies, right? Things we're hoping to get coming up. Grotesque 2, right, with Elizabeth Chamberlain. And then there's 2 more Fangs. and I'm Haunted 4, right? So we're hoping to get all of them part of our showing all of our independent movies going in towards the end of the year, right? I'm looking forward to that myself because I love the independent movies. And as you can see from the interviews and stuff I've did, Elizabeth Chamberlain, right, more than willing to talk to an old schlub wearing a biker jacket, acting like an idiot, right? And then Jim Canatelli and like there was 5 people on that call, right? Which was amazing because it was so cool that they took time out of their lives to chat with me to help promote their movies and stuff, you know. And I'm going to help promote them, you know, as long as I can. I know he's working on another movie. I saw it on Facebook, and when it comes out, right after it does its Tubi thing and all that, I'm going to ask him if we can have that. So, all right, and then I'm going to start pushing the next couple weeks, right? Um, we're gonna have our Shorty Fest. We already got the first movie for it. Guy sent it to me the other day, right? And we're gonna have our Shorty Fest. And with the Shorty Fest, we're gonna try to get like at least 20 movies like we did last year, right? And have it on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, right? Have it on. I think last year we went 8 to 11 because we had so many, and there was so many good ones. I'm really trying to get this werewolf one, right? Because it was deep. And that one was actually 15 minutes long, but it's worth every minute. You know that I'm trying to get those guys. The guy that's in it though, he's kind of and not saying he's a big time in me, right? Because he's not, but he's on a soap opera, and it's about him and his son get bit by a werewolf, and it's cool, right? And it's one of those movies that when you're done, you're like, wow, you know. There's another movie I really want to get to, but it's in Icelandic, right? And it's just it's hokey all the way through. And you get to the end, you're like, shit, did he just do that? You know? But so, all right, other than that, guys, right? I went and saw the Thunderbolts last night, Marvel Thunderbolts. Great movie. Oh my god, you guys will love this movie. I went to the 3:30 show, right? Now what happened was I was talking to the guy at the counter, right? That they had to add extra shows, right? So they added and this was on the standard vision. I didn't get a chance to see it in the IMAX, which I really want to see it in, right? But their standard funny, if you go to the movie tavern, their standard screens are actually bigger than standard screens, I think. But what a great movie. Non-stop action, right? You'll get the feels in it. You'll laugh, right? There's stuff in there, like I say girl power, but, you know, women power, right? And the ladies in the movie, they were great. Oh, my God. And they kicked ass, you know? And then, you know, then you got John Walker, who's a U.S. agent, right? He was in it. It's Wyatt Russell. He plays an asshole so well. But then through the movie, right, you find out why they are the way they are, and it's great. Watch my review. I have a shorty review, right? Then I have a long format review. I think it's like 20 minutes, and you guys will love it because trust me, I walked through the movie, right, and I loved it. And it's one of the first times because I used to go to the movie, right? I do my I do my reaction from the car before I get home, and then 90% of the time I'm going to do it tonight, and I don't get a chance, right? I came home and I did it as soon as I walked in the door, right? And I'm telling you, go see it. 10 out of 10, right? It's Marvel's back, baby. Marvel is back, right? And go to movies anytime except 8 o'clock on Fridays where you want to watch Cemetery Cinema. So, folks, I yapped on enough, right? I'm going to edit this and I'll talk to you guys next. I'll talk to you guys during the week, all right? It's the Mad Darbarian for Cemetery Cinema and The Wake. See ya. That's all, folks. I love doing that. All right. Stop streaming.